All right, let's unpack this. What really separates a digital experience that, just works from one that feels truly intuitive, genuinely enjoyable even, the kind that almost disappears as you use it? It's something we all deal with every day, often without really thinking about it. Today, we're doing a deep dive into human-computer interaction, HCI specifically, design recommendations. We're drawing from a really insightful lecture on HCI. It's packed with principles, standards, best practices, and a whole systematic usability process.
Yeah, and our goal here really is to give you, our listener, a shortcut to understanding these core elements. We want to shine a light on what makes these digital interfaces not just functional, but like genuinely user-friendly. And importantly, why these choices matter so much because, this isn't just about making things look pretty, it's deeper. It's about understanding how humans fundamentally interact with technology. It's designing for the human brain, essentially.
Designing for the human brain. I like that. And the source material actually kicks off with something fascinating about memory, doesn't it?
Hmm.
It really lays the groundwork for why all this design stuff matters. Can you share those percentages? What do they tell us about how we remember things?
Oh, absolutely. It's quite revealing. So, roughly, we remember only about 10% of what we read. It goes up to maybe 20% of what we hear and 30% of what we see.
Okay, still quite low.
Right. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you start combining senses, retention jumps dramatically. We remember about 50% of what we hear and see together.
50%, that's a big leap.
Huge. And it gets better. It's about 80% for things we hear, see, and say,
Yeah.
and the biggest number, a massive 90% retention for what we hear, see, say, and touch or interact with physically.
Wow, 90%. So it's not just about making information stick, is it? It's about how engaging multiple senses makes things feel intuitive. It reduces the mental effort.
Precisely. It taps into our natural learning pathways. Good design leverages this. If you're only designing for the eyes or just the ears, you're missing out on how people actually learn and build that intuitive feel. Effective design really has to start with understanding this human nature, how we're wired.
That makes total sense. Designing for the whole human. Okay, so with that baseline understanding, what are the first tools? The core design principles that guide designers. Let's start with visibility.
Visibility, yeah, it's fundamental. It's really about making the main things, the core functions, super obvious. And maybe hiding secondary stuff gracefully. It guides the user, tells them what they can do next.
Like the example from the source material, Gmail.
Exactly. Gmail's complex, right?
Right.
But its main job is sending email. So that compose button, it's big, it's prominent, often used as a contrasting color. You don't have to hunt for it, you just see it. That's visibility doing its job. Makes the primary task effortless.
Okay, so we see it, we click it, but then what happens? How does the system talk back? That sounds like feedback. Because nothing's worse than clicking and getting nothing. Silence. Wondering if it even worked.
Oh, absolutely critical. Feedback is the system communicating back to you. It tells you what's happened, confirms your input was received, keeps you aware of the system's status. It's vital for avoiding frustration. And more than that, it helps users build accurate mental models of how the thing works. Without feedback, you're just guessing.
And feedback can be lots of different things, right? Not just visual.
Totally. It could be a little vibration on your phone, a button changing color, maybe that spinning loading icon, or even a sound like a beep. And for longer tasks, you need more detailed feedback. Think like percent done bars or estimated time remaining. It needs to be immediate, specific, right there in context.
Yeah, that Google Chrome spinner is a classic. Simple but effective. It starts instantly, tells you I'm working on it. Then it speeds up slightly just before the page loads, giving you that little cue.
Exactly. It's a tiny narrative. Without that kind of feedback, users get lost. They don't build the right mental model. They might think it's broken. They get frustrated.
Okay, so feedback tells us what is happening, but sometimes good design is about preventing mistakes in the first place, guiding us away from wrong choices, which brings us to constraints.
Constraints, yes, they're
Yeah.
really powerful. They essentially restrict what you can do at a given moment. They don't just stop errors, they guide you by limiting the options to only the valid ones right now. There are different types, like physical constraints, a key only fits one way, or logical ones.
Like grayed out menu options.
Perfect example. You see the option, but you know intuitively you can't select it right now. It simplifies the interface, reduces clutter, prevents errors without being intrusive.
Very subtle but effective. Okay, so if design's a language, then consistency must be its grammar, right? It's what lets us build that muscle memory. The same action should do the same thing every single time. Like stral plus C always means copy, stral plus S always means save. That knowledge transfers instantly.
Exactly. That muscle memory is key for learnability, efficiency. And our source breaks consistency down into 4 types. First, there's aesthetic consistency. That's about the look and feel. Like how all Mercedes-Benz cars share a certain design language, the logo. It builds brand recognition, trust.
Okay, visual style.
Then functional consistency. This is about meaning and action. Traffic lights are a good example. Yellow always comes before red. That predictability is crucial.
Right, you rely on that.
Third is internal consistency. This means things work the same way within one application. Buttons look and act the same. Menus are structured similarly. This builds trust, makes it feel coherent. And finally, external consistency. This is consistency across different applications or devices. Think the Microsoft Office suite. You learn something in Word, it often applies in Excel or PowerPoint.
That external one sounds like the hardest to achieve sometimes.
It often is, yeah. Different companies, different platforms, standards evolve. But when it works, it's incredibly powerful for the user.
And when consistency breaks down, that's usually when frustration sets in. The source mentioned some examples.
Oh yeah. A classic issue is when multiple commands start with the same letter. Imagine if save, spelling, select, and style all started with S. You'd end up needing complex key combos like Ctrl plus S, Ctrl plus Shift plus S, Ctrl plus Alt plus S. It totally breaks the simple mental model, increases learning time, causes errors.
Yeah, I've run into that.
Another great example is the keypad layout difference. Phones usually have 1, 2, 3 on the top row, but calculators and computer number pads, they have 7, 8, 9 on top. It's a major external inconsistency. If people get used to one and make mistakes on the other.
Haha, I never consciously thought about that, but yeah, it's true.
And the impact. Frustration, more time needed to learn, errors. Sometimes people just give up. Inconsistency is a usability killer.
Okay, so related to knowing what to do, there's this idea that something should just look like how you're supposed to use it, affordance.
Exactly. Affordance is an attribute of an object that basically shouts, here's how you use me. The appearance itself suggests the function. As soon as you see it, you should kind of know how to interact. A physical door handle affords pulling. A flat plate on a door affords pushing.
And in digital terms.
Same idea. An icon that looks like a button affords clicking. A scroll bar affords dragging up and down. The visual design implies the interaction.
It seems obvious, but I guess it's easy to get wrong, like making something look clickable when it isn't.
That's a false affordance, yeah. Or the opposite, where something is interactive but gives you no visual clue. Both are bad. For web designers especially, this is critical. If users can't instantly see how to get the information, how to click, how to navigate, they'll just leave. Affordance guides interaction.
Right. So you know what it is, you know how to interact with it, but do the controls make sense? Which is mapping, I think.
Mapping, yes, is the relationship between the controls and their effects. How intuitive is that connection?
Like keyboard arrows moving the cursor, or a vertical scroll bar moving the page vertically. The direction matches.
Perfect examples. The mapping is natural, direct. You don't have to think about it. And there's also mapping of relative position. Think about old MP3 player controls. Play is usually in the middle, rewind is to the left, and fast forward to the right. That spatial arrangement maps directly onto the direction of the action going back in time moving forward. It's instantly understandable.
Okay, so those are the big principles. Visibility, feedback, constraints, consistency, affordance, mapping, the bedrock. But designers need more than just principles, right? To ensure real quality and professionalism. This gets us into standards and best practices.
Exactly. Standards are often set by bodies like ISO. They ensure compliance, they incorporate human factors research, they can streamline design, meet requirements. Importantly, they don't guarantee a great design on their own, but they specify a certain level of interface, quality, and safety, a baseline.
Got it. And then design best practices are more like practical tips, craftsmanship advice.
Yeah, you could say that. Concrete advice for visual and structural design, like creating effective color palettes.
Color's huge, obviously, for branding, but also for usability.
Definitely. Beyond just using your brand color, it's about choosing neutral and accent colors that work well together. Colors evoke emotion, guide the eye. Think about Facebook's blue or Netflix's red. They establish identity, sure, but the overall palette creates a mood, helps structure the interface.
And related to color, there's a crucial point about awareness for different color visions. You had a surprising stat.
Yes, around 5% of web users have some form of color blindness. That's significant.
1 in 20 people.
Pretty much. So you absolutely cannot rely on color alone to convey critical information. Using red and green together without any other indicator. Big problem for many users, it's an accessibility must-do.
Makes sense. And that whole the dress thing, blue, black, or white, gold, is kind of a fun, extreme example of how perception varies, isn't it? What's the
Yeah.
design takeaway there?
It's a great reminder that what you see isn't necessarily what everyone else sees. Lighting, context, our brains, it all plays a part. So designers need strategies. Don't rely only on color. Use high contrast. Add icons or text labels as redundant cues. Test designs using color blindness simulators. Build in flexibility.
Smart. Okay, moving to text. Effective typefaces and pairing fonts. This isn't just picking fonts that look nice, right?
Not at all. Typography is a whole art and science. It's about making text legible, readable, and appealing. A common mistake is thinking more fonts equals more personality. Usually it just equals chaos.
Yeah. Font overload.
Exactly. It breaks consistency, makes things harder to read, feels unprofessional. Best practice. Usually stick to a max of 2 well-chosen, well-paired fonts.
Yeah.
One for body text, maybe a serif for readability, and one for headings, maybe a sans serif for impact. Understanding that difference is key.
Good rule of thumb, max of 2. Okay, so we have colors, we have fonts. How do we arrange everything? Visual organization.
This is about guiding the user's eye, making information easy to scan and digest. Using images effectively, not just decoration, but visuals that add real value, clarify meaning. And overall, having a coherent layout. It makes the design feel elegant, professional, and directs attention.
And a key tool for that is using a grid, isn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely fundamental. A grid provides structure, consistency, alignment. It makes complex layouts manageable. Think about a site like the New York Times. Tons of content, but the grid structure makes it navigable, understandable.
Right, and within that structure, you need visual hierarchy.
Yes, making important stuff stand out. Bigger fonts, bolder weight for headlines. It tells the user instantly, this is important, this is a section title. Helps them scan quickly.
And don't forget white space. It's not just empty area.
Not at all. White space or negative space is crucial. It helps group related items, separates unrelated ones, reduces clutter, makes the whole design breathe and feel cleaner, more focused.
And one last best practice, use images responsibly. Seems obvious, but
Crucial. Avoid copyrighted images. Seriously. Use free stock photos. Buy royalty-free. Or better yet, create your own unique visuals. It's professional, it's legal, it respects creators.
okay. Principles, standards, best practices. That's a lot of ingredients. But how do you actually bake the cake? How do you put it all together reliably? This brings us to the usability process.
Right. This is the overall methodology. Usability itself is about optimizing those interactions people have with products, making them easy to learn, effective, efficient, and satisfying. Enjoyable even.
And it's a process, not just one step. The source laid out 10 steps, but let's group them a bit. It starts with understanding the user and context, right, before you design anything.
Absolutely foundational. You have to study users and tasks, create personas, detailed profiles of your target users,
Yeah.
analyze their experience, age, how they learn, and critically, do task analysis. Understand what users actually need to do, not just how they do things currently. Look at competitors, too, via competitive analysis.
And set goals.
Yes, setting usability goals. And these need to be specific and measurable, not just make it easy. More like a new user can complete purchase X in under 2 minutes. Or the error rate for task Y should be less than 2%.
Mm.
These concrete goals guide design decisions and let you know if you've actually succeeded.
Okay, know the user, know the goals, then we start building, but involving users early. How does that work without spending a fortune?
That's where the iterative part comes in. Participatory design means involving users and stakeholders along the way. And a key technique is prototypes. Start with low-fidelity stuff, paper sketches, wireframes, quick, cheap ways to simulate the interface and get feedback. Then move to higher fidelity as you refine. This lets you test ideas and iterate rapidly before coding the final product. You also use guidelines and heuristic evaluation, where designers check the interface against established principles.
Makes sense. Test early, test often. So once you have something testable, even a prototype, you need real people using it. Empirical testing.
Non-negotiable. You have to watch actual users interact with your design. Weblogs and surveys aren't enough. You need to see where they struggle, hear their frustrations, observe their natural behavior. This direct observation is gold. It tells you what's really happening.
And finding problems leads to fixing them.
Exactly, which is iterative design. You take the findings from testing and you redesign. Fix the problems, improve the flow. It's a cycle. And it's good practice to keep a design rationale notes on why decisions were made. Helps keep track during complex projects.
So it's a loop. Design, prototype, test, refine, over and over.
Pretty much, until you meet those usability goals.
And even after the product launches, it's not really over, is it?
Not if you want it to stay good. The final step is collecting feedback from field use. Monitor bug reports, listen to customer support, analyze usage data. This real-world feedback is crucial for planning updates, new features, and future versions. The process never truly ends.
Wow. Okay, so what does this all boil down to? We've gone from understanding basic human memory through core principles like visibility and feedback, covered best practices like color and grids, and landed on this whole iterative usability process.
I think it shows that good design isn't magic. It's this blend of, well, arts and science, psychology, aesthetics, engineering. It's a continuous cycle. Understanding people, creating solutions, testing them, refining them, always keeping the human user right at the center of it all.
Yeah, and that leads perfectly into a final thought from the source material, which I really liked. It was a call to action. Do not just inform,
Hmm.
communicate. Think about that, beyond just websites or apps. How can you apply these ideas, visibility, feedback, consistency, really understanding your audience, to how you communicate in general, in your work, in your life? How can we all design our interactions for better clarity, for real impact? Make things more thoughtfully human. It's definitely something to mull over.